Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, my name is Katie, also known as Links. Neither of those names are spelled the way you expect, so please check the show notes. Someone very lovely and cool wrote those for your reference. I am an artist who yells about video games on Twitter and Twitch, and today I have the honor of being your host for this episode of Side Quests, where I am going to tell you about one of my favorite games, Tales of Vesperia. Tales of Vesperia is part of the Tales franchise of JRPGs published by Namco Bandai Games. It was initially published internationally in 2008 for the Xbox 360. It was re-released in 2009 in Japan for the PlayStation 3 with additional content and characters. That version was released internationally as a definitive edition 10 years later in 2019 for Steam, the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Much like the Final Fantasy series, the stories and characters for the main Tales games are disconnected, so you can start with Vesperia. Suppose you have played other Tales games, though, such as Tales of Symphonia or Tales of Arise. In that case, you'll recognize some attacks and spell names and possibly some story tropes. The gameplay consists of dungeon exploration with some light puzzle elements, side quests from townspeople you talk to, and a vast world map to explore. Instead of random encounters, you see enemies on the map, whether on the world map or in a dungeon, and you can initiate an attack to gain an advantage in battle. The battle system is similar to a 2D fighting game, but with the ability to avoid attacks on a 3D field. You can string together melee attacks with special attacks called arts to make some devastating combos. You have various party members you can play as who all control a little differently. There's a swordsman, a battle mage and healer, and my favorite, a playable dog with a knife. Let me repeat, you can play as a dog with a knife. It's pretty great. 4 of your party members will take the field in battle, and you will control one while the other 3 are controlled by AI, which you can set rules for and issue one-off commands during battle. Want Carol to stop using all your healing items? There's a setting for that. Want your dog to keep his distance below half health? There's a setting for that too, but why aren't you just playing as the dog? Tales of Vesperia has an accessibility option I see many modern games ignore. You can fully remap the buttons on your controller. This is important in action games because I personally can't reach the right button or trigger on traditional controllers. You can return to a default setting anytime, but sky's the limit for customization. These characters and their stories make Tales of Vesperia a favorite of mine. Every Tales game has a theme from Namco Bandai, and Vesperia's is an RPG to enforce justice. Yuri, the first character you play, sees injustices in his city and kingdom that the law isn't able or sometimes not willing to punish, so he begins to take things into his own hands. This puts him at odds with his old friend Flynn, who is a knight of the kingdom and wants to make reforms from within the system. This push and pull between the two continues throughout the story and makes you ask, what is the right thing to do? Another running theme is the connections between the party members. Every character comes into the party lacking loving and healthy relationships, and to see what they find in each other is really beautiful. The plot, which does follow the JRPG escalation of a small personal problem to saving the world, is pushed along by these growing ties. Saving the world is just a happy byproduct of saving one of your companions. The game is also about as gay as you can get at the time. 2 female characters start crushing on each other, which is very cute. Yuri and Flynn have the energy of 2 exes who remain cordial for the dog's sake. And despite how heavy some of the scenes are, Vesperia doesn't take itself overly seriously. There is plenty of comedy, quick-witted one-liners, and some goofy side quests when you need a breather. The game also features a robust costume system, including complete alternative outfits and various accessories. Yes, you can dress up the dog too. These costumes will show up in cutscenes, so keep that in mind. The only problems to really brace for are problems that most JRPGs in the 2000s struggled with. Even just playing the main story can be easily more than 50 hours. And there's also a lot of missable stories and character content. Please find a spoiler-free guide if you don't plan on using the New Game Plus feature to replay the whole thing for completion. So, all in all, if you're looking to question authority with your queer-found family and your dog in the form of an action RPG, please play Tales of Vesperia. The definitive edition regularly goes on sale, and I need more people to yell about this game with me. Until then, happy gaming!
Hey, Nerf herders.
You sure you want to go with that?
Hey, everyone?
There we go. More inviting.
Have you ever had a movie that you really wanted to love, but something holds you back?
Or one that you did love in spite of a flaw?
Well, I'm Case Aiken.
And I'm Sam Alisea.
And on Another Pass, we sit down with cool guests to look at movies that we find fascinating.
But flawed.
And we try to imagine what could have been done when they were made to give them that little push.
We're not experts. We just believe in criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Sure.
So come take another pass at some movies with us.
And every now and then, we can celebrate movies that did it on their own, too.
You can find us at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Pass it on.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.